Ethiopia has a long and storied history, one that many people forget goes back thousands of years, from the legendary Queen of Sheba to the ancient rock-hewn churches of Lalibela. Ethiopia is a country full of history and culture. But today we're going to tell you about something different, something that many people don't know about Ethiopia's past. We're going to tell you about the time that Ethiopian soldiers fought in the Korean War. Yes, you heard that right. Ethiopian soldiers, part of the Kagnu battalions, fought alongside United Nations forces, including the US 7th Division, to defend South Korea against North Korean and Chinese forces from 1950 to 1953. They were part of a larger effort to contain the spread of communism in the region, and they played an important role in several key battles. One of the most intense battles that these Ethiopian soldiers fought in was the Battle of Chosin Reservoir. This was a three-day battle in December 1950, in which UN forces, including the 7th Division and the Kagnu Battalion, were surrounded by Chinese troops in the Chosin Reservoir area. The Ethiopians were in a unit that was taking heavy casualties. According to some reports, only 2 of the 14 Ethiopian soldiers remained. With no hope of reinforcement and with their supplies dwindling, the situation looked bleak. However, despite being outnumbered and outgunned, the Ethiopians held their ground and fought bravely against the Chinese. During this battle, there was a medic with the 7th Division who noticed that the Ethiopians were eating something strange. He saw them eating what looked like human flesh. Now you might be thinking, what did he see that made him think that? Well, let me tell you, during that war, there were cases of soldiers from both sides eating the raw meat of those they had killed. It was a way to survive in a harsh and unforgiving environment where food was scarce and the fighting was intense, but the medic couldn't believe what he was seeing. He couldn't believe that these soldiers were actually eating humans. So he reported it to his superiors. When the US military heard about this, they were horrified. They couldn't believe that their Ethiopian allies were engaging in such a practice. So they sent out a team to investigate, and what they found was even more shocking. The team discovered that the raw meat that the Ethiopians were eating was the meat of a cow that they had in their pocket. The meat had been used for soldiers, and the Ethiopians had captured them and were now eating them. The story of how the Ethiopian soldiers were eating human meat spread like wildfire, and from that point on, the Ethiopians became known as the human eater. But that's not actually true. They were just soldiers trying to survive in a very difficult situation. I mean, imagine being in a situation where you haven't eaten in days and then you see an animal that you can eat. You would do anything to survive, right? So it's not really surprising that the Ethiopians resorted to eating dog meat when they were in that situation. Anyway, after the war, the Ethiopians were celebrated as heroes. They had fought bravely and made great sacrifices to help defend South Korea. They were awarded numerous medals and commendations for their service, including the Korean War Service Medal with 3 bronze stars. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe so you never miss an exciting episode. See you next time.